Why will an African man, strong black man Mandingo, come to Europe, comes to marry you, give birth to children, and the government take full charge of the children? Why? Most of you women in Europe are married to African men and you think you own them. You've been scammed. Hello guys, you're welcome to Business Ghana TV. Today we are talking about why some African men have two families. That means that some African men have families in Africa, and when they get to Europe, they have another family there. So why is it so? Why can't they just stick to one? And I know this is so infuriating to women in the West. They just want to be alone. So most of you are married to African men and you think he entirely belongs to you. You own him. Some of you see African men like your properties. Why? Just because you think you have the documentation, and unfortunately some of you also think that they are marrying you because of the documents. Well, you may not be far from right, but just stop dreaming that you own him. No, you don't own the African man. He's so smart. He's not dumb. And it's so unfortunate that some of you think that you are the first wife. You are not. You think he married you, then later he came to Africa and he came to marry another. Therefore, as for me, when I'm married an African man, I'm ensuring that I own him. And you know, when he's coming to Africa, I'm coming back to Africa with him to ensure he doesn't do anything. And I'm not going to make my man go back to Africa alone. You lying. You are delusional. You are dreaming. You can't own this man. In the first place, stop thinking you are the first wife. Stop thinking you were the one he married first, then he came to Africa to marry another one. No, he's already married before he got to your place. He's married here before he got to Europe. You understand? So you are actually the second wife. So I want you to understand this and learn why African men actually own two families, one in Europe, one in Africa. Now, the reason why most African men do this is, number one, before the person even traveled to Europe, or even when the person got to Europe and came back to Africa to marry, he understands that your system and your lifestyle over there cannot help him. It is to his disadvantage. Why will an African man, strong black man Mandingo, come to Europe, comes to marry you, give birth to children, and the government take full charge of the children? Why? If there's any issue, that African man knows that he doesn't have any right to the kids. You, the woman, have a upper hand. Number one, the government is in support of you. The police is in support of you. Why is he so stupid and dumb to know that these kids are not his? To know that though biologically he may be the father of the kids, but those kids are actually not his. And any little mistake he makes, the kids could be taken away. He doesn't get to see his house, his wife, his family. He may tend to be homeless. Is he that dumb to not see this? Is it dumb to not see African men who have gone through hell in your hands? Is he that dumb? He's not dumb. So what does he do? He knows and he sees every single day how European and some of the women in Europe are promiscuous. Some of them are so trickish and wicked. So what they do is that they married, and when they see that the African man is strong, is working hard, earning some living, then when they're married, along the years, 2-3 years, then the big woman will start misbehaving. Deliberately start misbehaving just to take part of the guy's wealth. And you guys succeed. You kick the man out of the house. The next 3 weeks, few months, he becomes a homeless man. A strong black mandingo found in Europe, and he becomes a homeless. That's so foreign to an African man. So a normal guy in Europe, or a normal African man in Europe who traveled to Europe, knows that this system is working against him. So he has to act fast. He has not to be dumb. So if he already has a family at home, a wife and kids at home, he keeps in touch. He sends them money. He ensures they get feeding because he wants to be a responsible man, having a family that is actually his back home, Africa. So once every 6 months or once every year, he comes home to visit them. Some people do well. They come every 3 or 4 months to come and visit his family. But you wouldn't know. You might think that he's going on holiday. Hey, you're not going on holiday. He's coming to see his family. Just wake up. It's not a holiday. There's nothing you can do to ever find out. There's nothing you can do to find out. You can't find out. You can't find out. It's not dumb. You can come from Europe with him, come and locate his family and whatever, trying to know whether he was married. Hey, you're not going to find out. Even if you find out, we'll still tell you it's not true. There's nothing you can do. So you understand that you people operate in a failed system where any little mistake he makes can cost him a lot. So why would he spend his entire life showing you loyalty, consistency, working hard for your family that you have built with him and the kids that you are raising with him, that he know potentially could not be his, and potentially he could lose them? You think he's that dumb? No, he acts very fast. So number one is that you operate a failed system. That is why an African man cannot be loyal to you. Number two is that most of you, the women in Europe, are promiscuous. Some of you, I'm not saying general or a lot, I'm only saying some. Some of you are promiscuous. You are so trickish. Some of you are wicked. That when you are married to a person and you find out the person is doing well, you're going to find ways and means to break it. And that is why most of you are breaking your families with flimsy excuses. Talking plenty. Any little reason, you get furious. You get angry. So why would he want to live his life giving you loyalty when he knows that your temper can destroy this relationship any moment? He knows that. So the system is working against him. Some of you, the women there too, are working against your husband. So he is already smart. When he is able to acquire a family here, his wife and kids are going to be his forever. So he'll be building a future, sending money at home, feeding his family, building his own house, because he knows that at his retirement, this is actually the best place for him to come instead of your place. Let me give you a story. I know a man that's actually left Europe and he's come back to Ghana here. He's a very hardworking man. He's almost in his 50s going to 60s. He was lucky. He came back strong again. And he is actually doing menial job in here. But he is very satisfied. He's satisfied. Whenever I see him, I greet him. He tells me here is the best. You understand? This place is actually the best. He's here. I don't want to be specific. He's actually here. You understand? If I become specific with the location, some people might know him. Yeah, but those who know me, I can just pinpoint this is the man. He's very satisfied here. He has a family here now. Though he has wasted a lot of his time in Europe. But he is doing really well here. So the system over there is not okay for a strong black mandingo. So he makes that decision to actually come back here to have a family here. So even if he had a family here and he has a family there with you at Europe, anytime he can, come back home. And if they decide to come here again, fine. But at least he knows that he has a backup plan, a family that will be there for him, a family that will protect him, a family that will support him, a family that he can call his, instead of over there where he doesn't have charge of anything. You people, the system, the environment is so crazy that a kid at 12 years start seeing his dad as his enemy, start seeing his parent as his enemy, getting furious why he didn't come to my school holiday or vacation, a PTA parent meet up. Your father is not there. You get so furious about that, and you naturally become you naturally become the enemy of your father. You become, so he knows how kids over there grow to become anyhow. The environment is not okay for the person. So even if he tried to be a strong parent, probably he may not be able to raise the children the way he wanted. So he actually find ways and means to to fix that issue by having a family here. Now let me show you how you as an African American woman can actually keep your man. That is, if you are lucky you are the first wife. Number one is to live a life beyond the way an average African American or a European woman lives. You understand? Try your best to convince your man, not by talking, but by your attitude, your behavior, showing respect, submission to that African mandingo. He will be convinced that, nah, this woman doesn't deserve what I'm about to do. So he will become loyal to you, because he knows even when you get angry, you show respect. Even when you get angry, you are careful. So if you work hard on your behavior, and attitude, definitely you'll be able to keep him, and he's going to be loyal to you. But if you are not, and every little thing you show your shenanigans, you show your nyama nyama behavior, he's going to make a plan in his head, but he's not going to tell you. So number one, work on your behavior. Number two is to plan on having a home in Africa with him. If you're able to plan on that, you start putting some funding to acquire land, build house around in Africa, then he's going to be convinced that even if the system works against him over there, he has something at home with you. Do you understand? So at any time, you and him can rush back to Africa, where you're going to live the rest of your life, or save yourself from any animosity from the government in Europe. Number three is to actually be careful with the kind of man you choose as someone who is interested in Africans. So if you are careful, you choose the right man. You don't choose any African. You choose the right man who will be there for you, protect you, provide for you, and be a man. That way you would be sure that yes, you're married to a good man who will not do anything to your detriment. And number four is that you have to be ready to share your husband. I know this one, you don't like it. You have to be ready to share your husband. Polygamous. You understand? Polygamy, it depends on the kind of African man you marry, but just take note. It is either you share him legally or you share him illegally. You agree he marries another woman. I'm not saying, and this is not to all the African men, or this is just a mind I'm giving you. You may reject it. But what I'm saying is that allow him, even if he's going to be polygamous. If he's going to add up another woman, allow him, leave him. If you came and later found out that he has a different wife in Africa, leave him. Leave him to have that wife, and you also be there. Share him. There's no good man outside nowhere. Stop feeling entitled. Stop feeling entitled. There's no good man anywhere. Keep him and share your husband with the other woman. as far as he doesn't abuse you, as far as he doesn't, cheat you or anything, and he's good to you, he's kind, you don't have nothing to worry about. So I think these are the 4 ways you can ever keep your African man to yourself, the African mandingo to yourself as a woman in Europe. Thank you very much. Enjoy it. Bye-bye.